Boom, boom, boom. We're back at it. Week 20, 106 kilometers, 66 miles in the bank. And let's go through the breakdown. We're getting closer to the end here. So the weeks are getting crazy. So started off with the kind of midweek runs as usual, kicking it off with the 12 miler. This one went pretty good. It's been quite hot again in Ontario, but I've been running a little more in the evening hours. So most of the runs during the week were around kind of 23 to 25 degrees, decent amount of humidity, but just a few extra degrees cooler in the evenings made things a little bit nice. Starting off with that 20K to start the week off, felt actually pretty good. Felt a pretty good pace through it, felt strong. No kind of lingering pains and things like that, which is good. So the active recovery week kind of flushed a lot of that out. Going into the 8 miler, kind of more of the same. Felt like I was keeping pretty good pace. Things were feeling consistent and good and loose. One thing I will note is the two pairs of shoes I've been using at this point are both in and around 400 kilometers. The Pegasus 37s. I think I might need to spring for one more pair of shoes just to kind of cover off these longer runs of kind of 20K north. Just feeling like the pop in the midsole is completely gone, making these a little more brutal than you would hope. But yeah, I'm gonna look into that because we still have quite a few weeks left. It's short, but it's long at the same time because the efforts are big. And I find once the kind of midsole starts to feel pretty shot, I don't know, you start picking up additional kind of pains from the shoe and the runs. Not great. So looking into that this week. Finish off, we had another 10 miler on Thursday, so I kind of brought like a weekly mileage of just under 50K, like 49 I guess and change, which it was a lot. Heading into the weekend, shit went off the rails. It was raining from the start of the day, and by the time I got out to the trails, it was pretty damp. You can't quite capture it necessarily in the pictures themselves, but there were definitely really kind of muddy components running through the trails. There's just one spot on the second half where you're kind of going through a field and you just feet soaked quite often. Really got to see what these shoes kind of perform like in the wet, and it wasn't awesome, but it wasn't the worst. I've definitely had wet running shoes before where it was like they were like dead anchor weights. These definitely felt a little spongy still. Wasn't awesome, but kind of got through. It was really a grind though, because while it was raining for most of the 4.5 hours out there, it was also hot and humid, and you're wearing one of these like rain shells, man. The water's beating off you, but underneath you're still sweating like crazy. You're just soaked. It was miserable. It was pretty miserable, but I guess that's kind of what you sign up for when you kind of do these ultras, is to be miserable. So at least the training is gonna mimic the real thing. Yeah, it was pretty brutal. And then following up, the Sunday was also quite hot, and I was feeling a little bit more taxed from this run due to kind of how much I sweated out during it. So it was 150 minutes on the Sunday, grinded it out. When I left the house to start this, I thought it was 115 minutes, and I had to like double check about 2K in. I was like, no, this not 115 minutes, 150. So I had to rewire the expectations, grind it out. Just getting over 23K there. But yeah, biggest running week I've had so far in the camp. Feeling a little tender. Still got this recovery day on the Monday before we kind of hop back into the Tuesday for kind of week 2. I guess some other important things to kind of note. For the following week's going to be around 73 miles, 12.68 for the week. The weekend's where it gets brutal. We're doing 26 miles on the trail into 3 hours, 30 minutes on the Sunday. This is going to be a grinder. And we're going to see kind of how the body's feeling. Really gonna try to make sure I'm feeling pretty carb loaded and nutrition and rolling out is on point because this one's gonna be tough. But overall training weeks, we got 2 up right now. So we got this kind of current week, which we'll just jump into the following week. Then we got an active rest, and we got 2 more of the peak, and then we're into the taper, and we're getting close, getting really close. So while these weeks are each going to be daunting, I'm really just trying to focus on the day-to-day efforts, because when you zoom out, you like see, at least for me, 73 miles on the board. It's a shitload, man. It's a shitload to comprehend, and mentally just trying to stay sharp, focus on one day at a time. Because even the 1 days sometimes are looking pretty daunting in retrospect, and just trying to get out there and get after it. Almost there. Gonna bring this full circle. Obviously, not next week, this kind of week I'm in right now, but the following week. We also have a race. We'll be going back to the first trail race I ever did. Yeah, that guy was a 9-hour, 45-minute finish, 15 minutes before the cutoff. I'm hoping to get back on that one and make a drastic improvement. But we'll see kind of how this upcoming week goes, and that's going to help me kind of get a good sense of where the pacing should be. But yeah. Optimistic, things are moving in the right direction. Other than that, hopefully everyone had a good running week, and if you're training for this race too, it's getting close. It's getting real close. Good luck. See you out there.